Hi, my name is Monique Hover and I want to talk very briefly about storytelling and experience. Storytelling, many definitions exist. What is storytelling? We see it first and foremost as a narrative practice, as a creative process. If you want to know more about this, you can click the link to my PhD research, which is the Efteling as a narrator of fairy tales. So storytelling is not only the telling of stories, but also making them up, staging stories, sharing stories, creating stories, designing stories and writing stories. Where do we use storytelling? Storytelling we find in traditional fields such as arts, literature, media, film and games, in commercials and brands, in leisure, theme parks, museums and events, but these days also in organizations, research, journalism and in therapy. But storytelling is something that we do on a day-to-day basis in everyday life. In fact, storytelling can be seen as a universal, timeless and human phenomenon. And there's not so much difference between the storyteller who around the campfire tells a story to his audience reacts and he gives new insights in his story. In social media basically we do the same thing, but we use other channels. Storytelling is about expressing and extracting meaning. When, for instance, Hans Christian Andersen wrote his fairy tale about a little matchstick girl who on a very cold winter evening was unable to sell her matchsticks, she froze to death and she was taken to her grandmother to heaven. This, as an attraction in the Efteling, has a very specific meaning if you've recently lost a loved one. But the grandmother who reads this fairy tale to her grandchild can give it a special meaning on the level of social context. And for me, it brought back memories when my sister would read the fairy tale to me when I was young, and I would start to cry when I heard "Once upon a time there was a little girl," because I already knew what was coming. If you want to know more about the meaning of fairy tales, you're kindly invited to watch my TEDx talk on YouTube, and here's the link. Now, storytelling is also important in relation to experiences because people interpret the meaning of their experiences by fitting interpretations of the experiences into a story. So if you're interested to know how something trivial as a roller coaster ride can lead to many different experiences and to many different stories, you're kindly invited to see my web lecture for Vancouver Island University, and here's the link. Stories can be expressed or can be evoked not only explicitly, so in words, but also implicitly through images. And an example of this you find at the Anne Frank house, where you will find Anne Frank's diary. You will see a video when Otto Frank, her father, speaks about the time they spent in the annex and what happened afterwards. But you will also find a lot of implicit storytelling, images, objects, symbols and design that each tell a story or refer to a story that people may or may not know so well. If you want to know more, you can read this article or you can see the rest of my story on the web lecture that I just referred to. Transmedia storytelling is very important these days. It's a process where a story or story elements get dispersed across multiple channels for the purpose of creating a unified experience or story world. The project that we did for Van Gogh Brabant, called Becoming Vincent, takes into account that you can go to the physical location to see the church where Vincent was baptized and where we find the grave of his little brother who was also called Vincent. You can watch the garden and encounter Vincent there through the Oculus application that we have at the house in Zundert. You can use virtual reality. You can watch his paintings in the museums in Otterlo and in Amsterdam. You can read his letters and you can watch a film about his very tragic life and how it all ended. And if you want to know more, you're kindly invited to read the article that we wrote about it. Thank you very much.